All right, all right. Thank you for joining, everybody. Hopefully, you're having a good day, night, wherever you are. If you're at break point, hopefully you're having a blast. If you're at home, sitting in front of your computer, hopefully you're having a good day. So, I just want to kind of hop right in today because we're also pretty busy, but we wanted to spend a little bit of time talking about the Guacamole Day announcements that we made. Since Guacamole doesn't have a presence at Breakpoint this year, we figured we'd take National Guacamole Day and kind of give an overview of what we're working on behind the scenes, what's been planning, and some of the things that we wanted to share with you guys. So, if you were unfamiliar with what we announced, I'll just go through a quick bullet point list, and then we'll talk about each object or each announcement a little bit more throughout the space today. So the first one was the addition of Airtime and the ability to pay your phone bill within our marketplace. The second one was a sneak peek of our simplified degen interface for the secondary application that we have, guacamole.gg. The third one, which was our essentially main announcement for the day, the biggest one, something that we're super excited to talk about, was the announcement of our new application and Chrome extension coming later this year. Our plan is to essentially bring crypto to the masses without waiting for them to integrate. The next one is we're going to talk a little bit about the new council election process. As stated, the discussions and the feedback stage begin next week for that. We've already seen some people kind of step up and, reach out or want to run for council. So we'll go through a little bit about what our ideal is for, or at least my ideal for what I'd like to see in the council or what I'd like to see the requirements be. But ultimately, it's up to the community. I'm just, one of the council members and a steward. And the last one that we did for Guacamole Day was we essentially it was just a sneak preview of some of the new upcoming Avotar traits for the new art design that we've been working on to match the new branding that we launched on Cinco de Mayo of this year when we updated everything. So yeah, thanks for joining, and let's roll right into it. So usually on Spaces, what we do is, we introduce the concept of guacamole. We talk about how we're a fair launch, liquidity locked, and talk a little bit about myself. But we've had two essentially two Spaces / interviews or meetings within the last week. One with Rick, who I see was on here, where he led a community space where we talked about Guac, and then the second one was we joined Jupiter's one of Jupiter's core working groups, the Cadets, for Guac being nominated to the PPP list, the peer, or however you want to, interpret the acronym there. And that went very well. We talked for, I think, almost 2 hours about Guac. So there's a lot of information about our history and how we came to be within the last week. So instead of revising all of that and going through it again and again, today we're just going to essentially talk about what's next, what we've been planning, how what we have been doing essentially equates to the foundation for where we want guacamole to be. So going back to the first bullet point here, the addition of Airtime and the ability to pay your phone bill within our marketplace. The first thing that people said was hey, you guys know about helium and everything, right? And we're huge fans of helium. We love what they're doing. But ultimately, this is a completely different concept. We're not launching a mobile carrier. We're not, incentivizing use or anything. We're just adding another way for you to officially live on crypto to the marketplace. We've added the gift card shop, the prepaid cards, which immediately we have tons of people in the community that do all of their shopping essentially with USDC or the meme coins now, and we've been picking up greatly. Transactions have been picking up greatly. The product's finally starting to scale and get some notoriety, which is awesome. And with that, we've been making changes. We pushed back in our PC change. We've been working with Shift on integrating better callback methods for faster code deliveries. We've been working with suppliers on making sure that we actually just built in a pre-order system so that if the card isn't immediately available or the code isn't immediately available when you buy it, we put in a pre-order and it gives you a little delay instead of the transaction failing and having to be refunded. So that's one of the new things that we've done as well. And we're taking some feedback to essentially like idiot-proof the payment system because we, see some little things that can easily be fixed. But with that, one of the things that we wanted to do, and we had been like talking about with a bunch of our partners for a long time, is like, how do we expand this from like just beyond like the prepaid codes and the gift cards and like the games that we offer. So the next big thing, and we talked about this a little bit on both of the previous ones. I apologize if you're there and you're listening again now, but starting next month, you'll be able to pay for international carriers. I think the list includes like all the major ones: T-Mobile, AT&T, Cricket Boost, Verizon, TracFone. I think it's more than 10 different carriers that we're going to support, at least off launch, and we'll expand it from there to like, other ones in like the Caribbean, like Digicel and things like that, to essentially be able to support international customers. And you'll be able to essentially like pay monthly or, for prepaid time, or even if you have like a regular phone bill, you'll be able to like automatically add credits to your mobile plan with your favorite tokens, just like you do already with the gift cards, essentially. So, it'll be the same payment method where you essentially just log into your account, you select, how much time you want, which carrier you want, you put in your phone number, and you add it, or you select, the carrier, how much time, and you request a code, and then you go do it manually. But the cool thing here is that we most likely will have phone lookup on start, so you can immediately just like add it without, having to go to their website or having to go to like their portal to then claim the code. So we talked a little bit about like seamlessness and the fact that like we feel that the real world integration specifically that like we're working on, but other platforms are also working on, one thing that they're missing is the seamlessness, where we still have to jump through like a bunch of hoops, right? And that's one thing that we take into consideration with all of our design choices, all of our integration choices. So the ability to have the phone look up and immediately be able to add the credits to your account there would be super important, and once again fit into the seamlessness that we're looking for, right? So moving on to the next one, and it's something that we've been actively working on. We're almost done all of the changes, and I wanted to give a little bit of an explanation for people that may be confused, because you have to stay light on your feet in this industry. You have to take data and be able to pivot. So originally, when we launched the new Guac.gg interface, the plan was to take everything that we had on guacamole.gg, which was our secondary website, which hosted Guac Swap, it hosted the DEX, it hosted a bunch of our tools, token lockers, the games, etc., and start combining them into one application. And we did essentially 80% combined things, right? And we made some changes, simplified some things for Guac.gg, because we felt that it needed to lie within certain user knowledge base, where things don't necessarily have to be explained if you can't explain it on the page. And that's one of the reasons where most of the new stuff on Guac.gg, when you're interacting with something, it'll explain how it works around the page instead of having to visit an external documentation, which we felt was super important, specifically for mobile users, where you don't want to be opening another documentation tab within your wallet browser. So with that, though, we left guacamole.gg, the secondary app, as it was. So there's been no updates to it since we launched the new website. I think we actually made one update where we changed WebSockets and RPCs over to Helios for like game tracking and things like that to improve some performance there. But ultimately, what we noticed through tracking transaction to Fresh Guac.sol, which, if you're unfamiliar, is like our intermediary like fee capture wallet. Right now, it's being used as our rewards wallet for Guac.gg. So as we like DCA Guac with revenue, it builds there, and that is the essential treasury prize. But one of the things that we noticed essentially was that we have all these amazing things, and we have tons of new users and people using Guac.gg on a daily basis, but there was still a lot of revenue coming in from sections of the other website, guacamole.gg, specifically like the games and the trading section, and that was it. So, and essentially it can be labeled as a substantial ratio of revenue. So from a business perspective, you don't necessarily want to like deprecate things that are ultimately being used, but we still want to abide by essentially simplifying the ecosystem. So the answer to this, and our answer to this, was instead of making guacamole.gg, the secondary app, a landing page that shows you the ecosystem, takes you the ecosystem, and gutting it of all the features that are making revenue. Why don't we just gut it of everything that is implemented to the best of our ability, or implemented in a sufficient and efficient manner to guac.gg, and leave and improve the two systems that are, serving users, people are having fun with. One of the things that led to this, I think, was both of our domains got verified in several wallets, like Phantom and guacamole.gg actually got verified before guac.gg. So we had a lot of traffic coming in when it was trending as an app, and that gave it some visibility. So literally every day, I think we captured, 1 to 3 SOL of Guac off usage of those websites alone, without any late updates or without essentially taking care of it. So we have a lot of people coming, and we want to serve those users. So we gave a little screenshot and sneak peek of that. Essentially, it literally is just from everything that's on there now, it's being simplified to 3 different sections. So there'll literally be the homepage, and then the 3 sections essentially are trade, pools, and play. And that is it. That's all you get. But it allowed us to essentially really focus in on honing those products, improving those products. And one of the things that we've been working with our gaming partner with is the ability to actually add referral links into the play section. So if you're familiar with our regular referral system, our reward system on guac.gg, you earn points, and we'll be integrating that on top of all of this as well. But you'll actually be able to copy links directly from the play section and post them. And not only will you earn points, but you'll also earn a percentage of everybody's play immediately as they play. So it is very comparable to other gaming systems. But the cool thing about our system, and one thing that I think we need to market more, is that you're not making a deposit into a centralized casino where your coins are on a ledger, you win big, and then they're like, okay, let me see some KYC, or you win big, and they're like, oh, you're from a region that can't participate, etc. All of our games are all on chain, verifiably random through switchboard oracles, and you can verify the seeds and everything like that. It requires no deposits, no withdrawals. You essentially confirm the transaction, play that single round, you get your results, and you either get paid out for a win or you don't. So there's no centralized custody there. So it allows us to, and you guys, to promote on-chain game dynamics that are very rare within the ecosystem. So that's super exciting for us. And we will continue on the flip side to serve Guac Swap interface there as well. So that'll be another Guac Swap interface where you'll still be able to access all the pools. You'll still be able to trade it specifically through Guac Swap. So it's more so guacamole.gg becomes more of the on-chain native degen interface, where guac.gg is a very introductory interface, combines Web 2, Web 3 specifics, and different features as well. So this way we can still serve everybody. So we're super excited about that. We're carrying the branding over from the switch. We're making sure that everything is optimized. It runs well on mobile. It's a lot easier for us to bring the quality that we want to this product with only having 3 different sections instead of serving, I think, 20 different tools on there, right? So super excited to deliver that probably within the next 2 weeks. I know that the next thing that we're going to talk about is taking a lot of our development time, but there's enough time for us to kind of squeeze that in as well. So moving on to, I think, my favorite thing to talk about today would be our Chrome extension coming up. So we just alluded to this a little bit, and I wanted to chat about it a lot more today, because ultimately all you saw was a screenshot of the guacamole logo in the extension bar and 3 different bullet points and a little description about it. And that was our way to kind of drum up some excitement, but ultimately you still don't know that much about what our goal is with this. But before I continue, let me just take a sip of my water. So one of the things that we essentially see within the ecosystem, before I continue, we get into this, we're not trying to compete with the other wallets listed there. We just simply see a large gap between the centralized systems like Coinbase and other things that people get onboarded into, and the current wallet offerings, no matter like how awesome they are with Phantom, Soulflare, Backpack, etc. I'm a user of all of them. You should be too. It always helps to explore. But the way that they go about integrations and just connecting to decentralized applications with a swap module built in, and then versus a fully centralized custodial system like Coinbase, there's this huge gap that lies directly in between them. And what we mean here is when it comes to actual usage. So most wallets essentially just act as trading systems and collecting systems. So I say collecting systems, if you're an NFT collector, that's awesome. I fully support digital art, but you're still in most cases being speculative. So you can just lie it back to trading systems, right? Coinbase focuses on trading. All of the other ones, focus on DeFi, and that's great. And we, before we continue, yes, it is essentially a full wallet system. So the reason that we decided to do this was because we have this core technology at the base of our ecosystem that nobody else essentially has. I talk about the Airtime a little bit, but the Airtime is brought on by our marketplace, right? So what would happen if you had a wallet that, instead of just being focused on fully speculative natures, was focused on actually using your crypto, right? The same as, I don't want to compare it to a Venmo or a Cash App or anything like that, because that's just peer-to-peer payments. And that is at the core of any self-custody or centralized wallet system, being able to send and receive transactions. That's great. That is a required base at this point. But what if you were on Amazon, Walmart, you're on Uber Eats, anything like that, and for one time in your life you could pay with your wallet, and you're like, oh, that's great, but how are you getting them to accept it? How are you getting them to integrate it? And the cool thing is, and the way that we're going about it, is that they don't have to, because we have the marketplace tech. And I answered a question about this before, because somebody was like, how do you plan to do this without them integrating, etc. And if you look at our marketplace tech right now, you go and you look at the gift cards and things. The one thing that you notice on the app as currently is that you can only buy standardized denominations from the drop down, right? But we actually have the ability to serve any denomination for a large plethora of different websites. So the way this will work is, you'll be on the self checkout or the final checkout page. Let's just say you're buying, something for your wife or your girlfriend, if you have one, if you're lucky enough at being a degen, right? Having a significant other, you're buying a Christmas gift, this holiday season, and you're on the Amazon checkout page. All you have to do is open the Guacamole app and basically say that you want to pay with crypto here, without ever leaving the Amazon page. You select exactly the amount that you need, and this is just how it's planned off the rip, and we'll get into what it will be improved to. Exactly how much you need. It immediately delivers the code that you need, and you just copy and paste it onto the page, right? So that's what we're working on now. But ultimately, the goal here and what we're chasing is that the ability to immediately read the page, know how much you need, prompt you, say, hey, you're about to check out, you have this amount in your wallet, do you want to confirm and proceed? And the wallet pop up, you just press confirm, like you would on any DeFi app, and it immediately injects the code after the transaction is confirmed into the website page, and you just press checkout. Right. So there's two different stages here. There's, once we launch it, you'll immediately be able to go on the checkout page without leaving the checkout page, without going back to Guac Marketplace and getting your code and things like that. You'll just put in the number that you need. You'll get the code. You just press copy and you paste it on the page. Right. So that's two different steps without leaving the page. That's great. And that's already a huge improvement on our goal for seamlessness and integrations. Right. It doesn't require Amazon or anybody else to do anything. It doesn't even require them to know that we exist. Use it the same way now. All of your purchases will be linked to your guac.gg account. So, there will be historical accuracy. You'll still earn the points for the rewards ecosystem. You'll still be able to do everything else that you do. It's just that we're integrating all of our tech and all of our features into a Chrome extension to start out with, which will eventually most likely become a Solana Saga app as well. And we'll like search for, some primitives of it within the iOS and Google Play marketplaces, although most of the time you have to sacrifice some core functionalities because of their hardcore rules. But ultimately, it comes down to the seamless prospect of you finally being able to use it in everyday life. And we're, developers, BD, we're tired of having to deal with, Web 2 people to say, hey, this would be great to like use this. Like, how can we make this happen? You've seen like ecosystems like, and I'm not shitting on anybody, but like ecosystems like Polygon, with Starbucks, or like Sui just announced with the Movie Pass and things like that. And that's great. But we have all of this dev power, these resources, and we focus on permissionless systems. Like I'm tired of everybody just like asking and waiting for it to be okay, when there's so many systems outside of Web3 that like do the same things with like, I think Honey like searches for coupon codes to get you discounts and things like that. So like, why can't we have it the same where you can immediately just like get prompted from your wallet on checkout and pay with crypto, and it injects the codes that you need to the website, and it treats it just like a gift card or like a single use credit card payment, right? So we're super excited about this. Our focus for launch, we want it out by holiday season. So hopefully we can get there in time. I know that, time's already ticking down. So this is very important. It's a huge undertaking for us. But, we're essentially splitting resources right now to be able to handle this. And then, within the wallet as well, it'll be, there will be the trading features in the wallet. We won't charge you an arm and a leg in fees like other comparable players. You'll be able to collect as well. You'll be able to import wallets, export wallets, etc. You'll be able to interact with, our applications to start using the Guac.gg, the Guacamole wallet. So you can go to Guac.gg, log in with Guacamole. You can go to guacamole.gg, play with Guacamole, and we're developing it on the same wallet standard that other wallets are associated with, so that you eventually will be able to use the same wallet on other apps like Juke, Camino, Meteora, Radium, Pump Fund, all of the other ones that you like to interact with using the Guacamole ecosystem. So super excited for us to do this. The core tech for what I was describing with being able to essentially like realize you're on the checkout page and get your code and copy and paste it in is complete. A lot of the time and focus right now is going to like the UX for what we believe this wallet should feature, look like, how it should feel as you use it, because ultimately we want it to be a very, very unique experience. So yeah, it's not just a Chrome extension, it's a wallet, and it's a wallet built around making both Guac and all of your favorite crypto tokens like USDC usable in your regular life, and we think that's super important. That goes back to a lot of the core aspects and our mission for this ecosystem. And the cool thing is that we'll let you link your Guac profile and track points, etc. as well. You'll be able to do everything. You'll also be able to transfer your profile if you have a current existing profile into the Guacamole wallet and link that account too. So we have thought of everything there. We still want to do the reward point tracking and award you as well. And that's like the other cool thing I was about to mention is that, everything that you're doing, everything that we're doing essentially revolves around this community-based fairly launched token, Guac. So it's super exciting for us to be able to do this with the community as the backbone, with this token as the backbone. We stick to the mission statement of the core contributors, developers, and everything, building these amazing products to further the Avotar DAO and take us further as well. And that brings us into the next concept. And if you have any questions, I have Discord up as well. You're free to ask questions there. But the next concept, and I think this is, we completely switch nature going from talking about products to talking about community here, but they're both just important. And yeah, it's time to start the new council election process. Like I said, the official discussions and feedback stage begins next week. Take a drink quick. But with this, when we're talking about the discussions and feedback page, I think it's also super important for us to look at the current job of council members versus the perceived job as council members. Job is just the way to describe it. It's not a job. There is no payment for this. Nobody within the ecosystem, from the core contributors all the way down to the moderators and raid leaders, are paid at all. Everybody's just here working for their belief in guacamole. But when it comes down to it, council members essentially are the intermediary role between the core devs, whose job is literally just to build all the cool shit and make things happen, and the community. And where that comes into play right now, essentially their only role right now is to be a steward of both the community and the community treasury, right? So they have a DAO treasury that has a certain allocation of guacamole in it right now, who usually be getting revenue fed to the DAO, but for this season we're focusing on giving the guac back to the community so that you can help us improve and beta test and improve the products, etc., with all the feedback. And we're kind of incentivizing as a community to make it happen. But that's essentially the only current role. But we have this perceived role within the community in it, and there's nothing wrong with that, because at the end of the day, like, the council is just, it's a community voice. So when we talk about like the perceived role of a council member, the community wants to see them doing BD. They want to see them, leading spaces. They want to see them doing raids. They want to see them making content. They want to see them stepping up and being a valuable resource to the ecosystem, because at the end of the day, it just comes down to, a max of 5 people. And if you take my elected role out of there, there's 4 other people that work alongside me in the council, so that we do have this, this voice of the community that extends beyond, that people can talk to. And the community at this point wants them to step up. And we have, I think Burns is on the call. He is an avid council member. He's always, doing spaces, always talking about Guac. I talk to him on a weekly basis, multiple times a week in DMs about, him and Defenders and the overlap there and our goals, getting his feedback on the Chrome extension in the wallet before, we talked about it today. And things like that are super important. He's here making introductions to foundations and, making introductions to, other projects in the ecosystem, which is super important, getting our name out there on spaces. And, I think that essentially portrays what the community feels like a council member alongside my role as core contributor can be. Because if we just silo it out as, a treasury steward, then it ultimately requires no input or communication unless there's a DAO vote going through, or unless there's like a change going through. So one of the things that, I want to see in the discussions and forums that open up at the beginning of next week is like, not only the people that want to run for council, but I want to see, what everybody feels a council member should do. And that's not saying that like we can implement 100% of this and that like each council member as is or elected will be able to fully participate on like a daily basis on making this happen. But it comes down to like showing up every day that you can to the best of your ability and helping to expand guacamole, because people are looking at you for leadership, right? So another thing, that we can also do is like, should we have a full re-election process? What would that look like? Combine that with everybody's new expectations of what a council member should be. And what should the requirements for council be when it comes to, should they be required to be a large house in the community, which, if you're unfamiliar, that is the highest like verified holder role that we have, where, they have provable skin in the game, which I think is important for tracking, from the community as well. I'm not asking you to like dox all your wallets. I'm not asking you to dox all your personal information or anything like that, because, I'm here talking to you as, Guac Intern, essentially like fully anonymous, because one of the things that we wanted to do at the beginning of Guac is not attach it to like any face and have it be its own entity and speak for itself. But when it comes down to, council members at all, the council member is essentially like a community position. So the community should dictate what that entails. And I can chime in from a legal standpoint once we get the discussions going on and say like, hey, like that's a great idea, but ultimately like this can't happen, or like ultimately that's a great idea and we're looking to integrate that as one of the role specifics for a council member. And I also think that and I also ask everybody has their opinions, keep it civil, and also be open-minded to the extent that like everybody is human. People have other gigs, people have other roles, people have other jobs, etc. And not everybody can spend 24/7 building the ecosystem like the intern team and the other core developers are right now. And understand that this is just it's a democratic process. So we'll look into like what the elections will look like and everything. So yes, early next week, the most of the previous DAO channels will be archived to hold information, and new channels will be going live. That basically one channel forum style with what your feedback is, what your opinions on the council is, and then we'll have another forum style thing in the Discord for anybody that wants to join in and possibly join the council. And there will be like the requirements there and what your pitch should be. We'll have probably some Discord voice chats for everybody to ask questions and chat as the process moves on. And I'd like to get the full process done probably by it's already the 18th that we go live with this on the 23rd. We can have like one intense week of feedback for everybody, and then possibly start the voting process either the first week or the second week of October. I do know that I have some travel planned in there, and I'd like to be present for like the whole thing. So we'll most likely have to plan around the intern schedule a little bit, but ultimately that's super important for the ecosystem, specifically if we are making these changes. And before I like rant and rave on about like what I feel that should be, I'll save my opinions, just like I've asked a bunch of people to save their opinions for when the official new forums go live. So super excited to make that happen. Super excited for new council members to join us and help take us into this next age of flourishment and freshness as we release all of this cool new shit together and try to completely change the ecosystem and offerings that we provide, and all of these new products that we've been working so hard on. And I hope that my explainer of the extension / wallet to you can kind of see how we've been like setting the foundation with everything that we've been doing, and how important that is as like that middle ground within the ecosystem to help provide this. And ultimately, all of the changes making to guacamole.gg, the new things like Airtime coming. There's a lot more that we've been working on as well, but these were the main like announcements that we wanted to make for Guacamole Day, because we're always working, whether it be like behind the scenes. I know that a lot of people will like message at like 2-3 in the morning, I'm still here building. Message at 7 in the morning, I'm here building. So this is how we essentially spend our life now, and it's exciting to be able to share this with you guys. And the next thing that I wanted to touch on a little bit, and there's no specifics given yet, but I know that we have a bunch of NFT and avocado aficionados in the chat right now who fully represent Guac on Twitter and Discords by repping their avatar. And one of the things that we wanted to essentially address was that we updated all of our branding. We had the new logo, we had all the new colors, the apps have changed a bunch, and the avatars are essentially still in our original branding style. So if you noticed on Twitter or like in Discord or Telegram, a lot of the new content that we post has like the avatars with the updated colors, updated features, etc. One of the things that we wanted to do is finally start to update these guys to match our branding. And one of the cool things that we feel, from a color theory standpoint, is that the new colors pop more on social feeds. They gather more attention. We're able to introduce more traits, take some community feedback on traits. I know that you saw like new glasses, hairstyles, a lot of new colors, etc. And we just gave, a brief little, Figma sneak peek at some of these traits. So we're almost finalized that, and we'll most likely go through and, get some community feedback on like any other traits that you want to see, but most importantly, how the upgrade should be done. We don't want to be like other NFT communities or anything like that, where like you have to pay an arm and a leg to update. Like that's not what we're going for. We never go for extractive. We always want to be additive and supportive of the community. So, most likely at the end of the day, it'll from my perspective, I don't want to see people have to pay anything but, a minuscule amount of SOL to update the metadata and things like that. But if people want to see something else or like a gamified system go in, we're open to that, but it has to be done responsibly, efficiently, and it has to most of all be additive to the community, because we never want to, like other projects, continue to siphon our community for funds, because we've never done that, we never will, and we don't believe in dilution like other products and other projects. So if you have any other questions, I know that we went through a lot today. It's like, yes, we're, phone bills coming to Guac, new guacamole.gg degen interface. We talked a little bit about the Chrome extension / wallet and what, we plan to do here. The council process begins next week, and, we're working on Avotar updates. All in the meantime, we continue to make changes every day and updates every day. We're working with some collaboration with things like other players like Shift RPCs right now to improve some back-end tracking systems and callbacks to further smooth out your issues. Working with suppliers on adding more items to the shop. And I think one of the cool things that we've been planning that's almost done is a feed in Discord. We'll have essentially 2 new channels going live soon, where one feed will be new items. And so like as we list like new gift cards or new items in the shop or anything like is available, we'll just have like a Discord. We don't want it to ping anybody, because some days we add like 20 different things at once, and then other weeks we add nothing. So it'll just be a list of new things with links, and you'll be able to like just like copy a link or immediately visit it. And another thing that we want to do is have a channel for like purchases, so that you guys can like see the usage real time without like going to SoulScan and like tracking the shop wallet or anything like that. You'll just be able to like click on a Discord channel and see purchases going through, and we'll hide wallet information and things like that, because all that's available anyway. We're more so just focused on showing the products that people are buying, so that you can gauge what's popular. This will help you if you participate in the ref and reward system, so that like what page to go to copy your ref link, because ultimately like just looking at the data now, like we can see this, but you guys essentially can't. We're like, Amazon by far is like the biggest gift card code. Then we have virtual MasterCards probably behind that. A lot of people like to DoorDash, and then we have people that like order Starbucks cards almost on a daily basis. We just added Warhammer 40,000 to the shop. Great game if you haven't played it at a discount. There's been multiple PlayStation purchases this week. Lots of Steam cards. We have people that come back almost on a weekly or monthly basis to buy RuneScape cards as well. We have some Taco Bell and Chipotle even like splattered in there. So like we can see all this, but we want you guys to be able to see, what's selling as well. So the real-time purchase notifications, I think, is something cool that we can go like do in the Discord for the community, so that you guys can help play a part in our growth and help to, see what's exactly happening behind the scenes. So once again, keeping it short today. Thank you for joining. Hopefully we answered some of your questions. If you have anything else that you would like to add, please join the Discord. Type your questions out in public chat. We'll be there all day working with you guys. And, some of the questions we'll be 100% able to answer, but some of the things, essentially relating to maybe the wallet and extension, we're going to keep close to the chest until launch. So thank you for joining. Thank you for, being an avocabro. Let's fucking guac it up. If you're at Breakpoint, make sure to tell people about Guac. Let's get some more visibility. And, if you're at home, continue to follow Rick, MetaShredder, and everybody else social rating as well, because that's made a huge difference in, the amount of followers and people that are joining our community. And we thank you for that. That ultimately, like we talked about on the Jupiter call, you guys are just as important, if not more important, than anything else that we release or code, or any of the new features or products that we bring. Community will and always will be number one in crypto and beyond, because without users, without an avid community and cult like we have now, we're nothing. So thank you for following me for over a year, approaching a year and a half now, as we build Guacamole from what everybody thought was just a meme coin with locked liquidity into one of the most aggregated and hopefully influential ecosystems in all of crypto and Web3. And here's to more time together making this happen. So enjoy your day. I will be in Discord afterwards. Thank you for joining. Bye.
What a great Spaces! I'm Scoopy, and if you want to keep in the loop of all things guacamole, please leave a like and a follow. As always, there will be referral links in the description for all your guacamole needs. Good morning, good evening, good night, Scoopy, out.